story times, and I honestly thought that I had so many more to tell of my own experiences living at our old house, but as I was talking to my mom, I realized that honestly, I've shared most of the really, really good stuff, and the things that I haven't shared aren't really that big of a deal, and probably would not even make for a very long or very good video. So I thought that maybe I could read some scary stories from Reddit, and if you all enjoy this, we can kind of make this a thing here on my channel. So please let me know in the comments below if this is something you would like to see on a regular basis here on my channel. I'm going to leave a link to the original story in the description below in case any of you would like to check it out. I'm actually going to be reading right here in front of me, so if I'm not looking at the camera the whole time, that is why. Okay, let's get started. The title of this story is A Light in the Woods. My brother, his friend Ryan, and I all went out to the woods near our neighborhood. It was dark, and the only light we had was from our phones and Ryan's camera light. We were younger back then, and after school, we'd all get together and watch some classic ghost adventures to pass time. That's when we wanted to try to be ghost hunters ourselves. We lived in a small town right near a big lake that had miscellaneous houses that were abandoned and scattered about. There were even rumors of a graveyard being on one of the abandoned properties, so we of course wanted to go and check it out, being the naive and curious teens that we were. We came upon a house that had a big rusted door we couldn't even push open altogether. I went around the side and pushed ever so slightly on the big wooden board covering the window, and it withered to my touch. I had assumed it had been from water damage. All three of us climbed inside, and the air felt very still. The only sound we heard from inside is water dripping from somewhere in the house. We shine our lights around, not really seeing much in what should be the living area. There was a bunch of broken glass and cinder blocks scattered about, but nothing out of the ordinary. Ryan goes to look around the house some more, while my brother and I continue to search the living area, hoping to find some sort of evidence of a spirit here. After about 5 minutes of scrounging around, Ryan comes from within the hallway with a pale, grim face. He has sweat beads all around his forehead, and he looks nervous. Guys, there's something back there. We followed behind him, feeling a heavy weight in my gut like something isn't right. It could be anything, and I run through about 100 different scenarios of a dead body or a murder scene and try collecting my thoughts. Now, for some reason, there was a red and dimming light coming from the room we stood in front of. Why was there a light there? There shouldn't even be anyone here now. No homeless person is going to travel 20 miles into nothingness just to stay in a non-working home they probably didn't even know existed. I mean, we had to drive and park on the side of the woods and follow a trail, and then we had to go off course just to find this place. What could be in there? And then the smell hit. The smell of something dead drifting out of the small crack of the door hit me like a brick. We look at Ryan and ask him if he saw anything. He then tells us he was too afraid to even open the door and didn't want to go in alone after seeing the light and smelling death itself. We each prepare ourselves for the worst, with my brother having 911 typed in his phone just in case. My brother doesn't have any fears as far as I'm aware, and if he does, he is really good at hiding it, and because of this, he would always get himself into trouble. As soon as my brother knocks, a big crashing sound comes from the living room. He pushes the door open, and we see a very large pentacle drawn out in a dark substance we think was blood. Maybe not human blood, though, as we look inside the bathtub just below the red light, as we saw the candles lit, that's when we realized we weren't the only ones who had been here, and who knows when said being would be back. The markings were fresh as well as the candles being burned. We didn't see any cars. We didn't see any people. Every what if was crossing my mind, and I was beginning to feel nauseous. My brother and I looked at Ryan, and his nose started to bleed, then my brother's, and then mine. We ran fast towards the window we came through and climbed out faster than ever. We darted into the woods away from the house so that when whoever comes back for their belongings, we weren't caught up in the mix. We all stop, panting and catching our breath. It's still darker than ever, and I even remember the clouds covering the moon for a split second, and everything was pitch black dark. All we could hear were the frogs and bugs surrounding us. We finally gather ourselves and start walking, but lo and behold, we lost the trail, and Google Maps wasn't going to get us out of this one. We shine our lights around, not seeing anything other than trees and slivers of light from the moonlight. My brother begins to groan, holding his stomach as he bends over. I ask what's wrong, and he says he has just had a bad feeling wash over him. Just then, ever so slightly in the distance, we see a small light, like that of a lantern. My brother moves towards it and begins to chase it, but the closer he nears, the light begins to move, still hovering over the ground. It kind of zips through the air very spastically, like it doesn't even know where it's going. It just doesn't want us near it. There's a distance between us and the light of about 30 to 40 feet, distant but close enough to follow behind. We are speed walking at this point, chasing this light that's taking us God knows where until we finally come to a stop. A big stone wall blocks our path as the light goes through it. My brother says he feels the instinct to follow along the wall, so we listen because what else were we going to do? After about another 10 minutes of walking along the wall, we come to the train tracks that lead us to our car. We sigh in relief, just happy to have a destination, finally. When we finally make it to our car, all of us feel a chill run up our spine, which results in all of us turning around one by one. I'm not sure if it was an illusion playing tricks on my mind or messing with me because it wanted me to see something, but in the very distance we could see a dark figure waving at us. Almost like a sentimental goodbye. I knew I wasn't crazy once I looked over at my brother waving goodbye back. We got in the car and left without looking back. We each talked about it when we were home, discussing each of the emotions and feelings we felt, each of us describing our own personal experience. We don't talk to Ryan anymore, and my brother has unfortunately been taken over by drugs, but this will be something I never forget, even if it just means sharing it so I can hear others' experiences. For a skeptic like myself, I know what I saw and what I felt. I still see and feel things to this day, just not as intensely. Just be careful where you go, and always bring back up a weapon of some sort